Live. Now we are live. Happy Easter, you filthy animals. Welcome to our, day before Easter podcast in the middle of a pandemic, despite a crap ton of, technical difficulties. So please pardon us if all of a sudden this thing stops because the connection is lost. But do not worry, for I am recording the audio, so this can still go up on SoundCloud.
Yes.
So even if the live show is screwed up, we will still have the recording to put up as archive. For now. I have a feeling it has to do with how so many damn people using the internet right now.
Yeah.
Good thing I have a beer.
Just to preface, we did decide to go live today instead of tomorrow because for those people who actually do celebrate Easter, y'all are quarantined, so you're gonna have to deal with your families regardless of whether or not it's Easter. But tomorrow might be a more sacred day and blah blah blah. So we just decided today would be better to live stream.
Yeah, but please, everyone out there, whether you're religious or not, please do not be like the one gal they interviewed who said that she would not get sick because she was covered in the blood of Jesus.
And don't be like that stupid person who was arrested for actually putting on like a mega church. Don't do shit like that either.
Yeah, it's one thing to not let this virus control your life. It's an entirely different thing to go be freaking stupid. You know?
Exactly. Like, people are saying, oh, well, we need to have this hurry up and we need to, like, loosen the rules and shit and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is not the time for that. Y'all, it's been, like, a month and the cases are not going down right now.
Here's the thing. If you're in an area, unfortunately, Michigan, you guys don't have a choice because you have the dictator and governor
Yeah.
of the half-wit. Depending on your place, look at confirmed cases in your area, times that by 10, then divide that by the population figures of your area. That will give you an approximately mathematical chance of you even getting exposed. Like here,
What?
where I live, it's if I look at the population of my area.
Because I think Michigan's at like 20K cases right now.
Yeah.
Which is like actually a shit ton, as Michigan is not that big.
Michigan population.
Like, we're on par.
9.98 million.
Right, but we're on par with places like California and New York.
Most of those are in Detroit and Detroit and Lansing, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, interesting enough, one of my old classmates, in high school, they did an article that she had gotten it because she, she went to Michigan, which is in, I think it's called Washtenaw County, some county that's in the area where the epidemic happened. Well, she contracted it, and I don't know. After reading her article, um, she had a fever, and then she had like a throat problems. But from what she said in the article, I don't think it hit her as bad as a lot of these like more serious cases.
Oh yeah.
Because I think all she did was like after a couple of days she was starting to feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, she's
looking,
young.
They're looking at
so.
creating a test to see if you might already be immune.
What do you mean?
Like you may have had it and never known.
Oh, yeah. A couple people were saying, because my job, um, on and off days, I would visit a lot of grocery stores. They were like, "Oh, well, you probably have it because you see all these people." And I was like, I mean, me going to a bunch of different grocery stores, contracting it is probably the same chances of me just being at one grocery store, being like a cashier or something. I don't really know what you're
Most
going with
likely.
that.
And here's the thing: in my area, okay, there's almost 380,000 people in my county. There are 136 confirmed cases out
Okay.
of 380,000 people.
Hmm.
My worry of contracting and going out is not that high. Granted, that also means there's more like 10,360 cases because supposedly with the shortage of testing and whatnot, you're only going to get about a tenth of any disease. Flu, COVID-19, pretty much, any disease that comes out, only about a tenth of the people actually get the diagnosis. 90% of the people either get over it, never knew they had it, die at home, that sort of thing. But here's the thing. With that being said, I am still going out. I'm still, when I go to the grocery store, I'm wearing a mask and at work, and I'm using hand sanitizer and washing my hands and not touching my face when I'm away from home.
Right.
And when I get home, I take a shower and change my clothes. Not because I'm afraid of it being on my clothes, but because the fact that so many people were sick and everyone was wearing a mask, I feel like I'm filthy.
Yeah, there was like when I was working, there was like this girl and she was wearing a mask, but what was freaking me out was, and I saw her at the grocery store, obviously,
Uh huh.
but her entire like mouth area was completely red, like to the point where I could see like a bunch of red outside of like where the mask was covering, and I was like,
Yeah.
the fact that she's out kind of freaks me out.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are people out just to be out, I feel like.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Definitely.
they should be okay, so I don't know if this has been implemented in other states, but when I was at the grocery store yesterday, a decent amount of the Meijer were actually having a person by the entryway, like recording how many people were going in and how many people were going out.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is all well and dandy if they didn't make the max a number that is way higher than needs to be. Like at the highest, like even at peak times, I don't even think that there was more than 100 to 200 people in the store. But they made the max amount of people allowed to be in the store between 600 to 1,000. What's the point in even having that if you're making the max that high?
So they can pretend they're doing something.
That's exactly what my one friend said. They were like, well, they did that to make it seem like they give a shit, but really they're just greedy bastards.
Remember, Amazon tried to use the person that was raising the red flag of them trying to cover up COVID-19 in their warehouse as an example to go against unions.
Hmm.
And they got caught, and they're probably going to get fined and all that stuff. They fired him and quarantined him, but nobody else because he was sending people home because they were feeling ill, and they weren't cleaning and they weren't giving people masks and any of that stuff in the Amazon warehouses.
Yeah.
You see, my work typically does not give two shits about its employees. I have moderately decent benefits, but I do work for a soulless corporation. But it puts food in my freezer and gas in my tank. It's a job.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
at least,
obviously, we gotta work, and we don't work because we love what we're doing. We work
but
because we need food on the table.
at least, and being a non-believer, I do feel that I might be a little hypocritical saying it this way, But at least I am blessed enough to have a supervisor and a production manager who do actually care a little bit enough to make sure that they found us hand sanitizer and surgical masks to hand out, and are encouraging people to wear masks, letting me and other people take our breaks out in our vehicles instead of in the break room. So we don't have to congregate in break rooms, splitting up the breaks, for social distancing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the break room smells like antiseptic. That hospital antiseptic smell, like someone's been in there with a lot of bleach and alcohol.
Right.
So, at the very least, they are doing what they can to try to keep us from all getting sick. And they gave us 3 paid days. Those of us who took those 2 weeks off, the first 2 weeks Indiana was locked down, gave us 3 days of pay, 3 paid days off in that time, which they didn't have due, and they said they weren't going to be paying anybody's stuff. And there's not a lot of work right now because of the social distancing, but they're at least trying to stay open, at least let some people work.
Right.
So,
are you working part-time?
No, I'm working full-time, and once this is over, I'm going to be doing that thing called Instacart.
Okay.
I actually did it a few orders Thursday because I had the day off. Because I had to,
How'd
so
it
they
go?
wouldn't kick me off. It went pretty well, actually. I made $60. A little over.
How many orders did you do?
3.
That's not bad.
Great.
So do you need to get your car proof of insurance and all that crap, or how do they
just
do
gotta
the
give them
background?
your license, and they have to do a background check.
And that went pretty fast?
Yeah, my record's so clean it's suspicious. I don't have a record.
I don't have a record, but you know why I don't have one.
Because you avoid trouble?
No, I thought you were gonna say you've been driving less than some people have been born.
Oh, I wasn't talking about driving record. They don't care about your driving record in this one. You're delivering groceries, not taking people. You're not an Uber. They just want to make sure you're not going to scam the company or whatnot.
Oh, right,
Or
yeah.
poison people's food or some shit like that. It really
So,
wasn't that difficult. You just go and find the food. I mean, the customers were all happy with my work and that stuff. And it's a decent way to make some side cash.
They time you, though, don't they?
I think they do. I'm not sure.
And these were all people you didn't live too far from, right?
I didn't go more than 8 miles from the store.
That's not bad, and it sounds like they tipped well from what you said.
Well, one was a $15 payout, but they gave me a $15 tip on top of that.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
And when I got there, they didn't want me bringing him in, but they wanted me to send us, like, they could come get him, keep distance and whatnot. But they opened the door and they thanked me profusely for doing this. They said, "Thank you so much for doing this." And I sat it there for them in the garage and I left. So, they were very thankful and very, very good customers. Always good to have a good customer. Granted, there are things like I did that my mom says, "Oh, don't do that because it'll take you too long," and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? I'll take the extra second to make sure the customer's happy. Because that's what matters in the end. And besides, I'm doing it for side cash.
Were you with her doing it?
No, she just asked me how it went. She tried to grab me to come with her so she could supposedly, quote unquote, train me on it, but it wasn't that hard to figure out. Granted, right now with the stores being out of so much shit, they are, lots of replacing stuff and refunding stuff on the orders.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So then they give you a special credit card that's stored with the customer's cash, right?
They give you a card. The customer orders it. Okay. Instacart sends you a card, so Instacart pays the grocery store, and then Instacart will get the money from the person.
Yeah.
So you swipe the Instacart debit card at the grocery store.
Right.
For all the stuff. Then you take it from there, and you take it and drop it off at the customer's house, and then you go and do the next one. And I did the math, assuming I can get take large enough orders and get fast enough at it, I could go, potentially, make $100 on a Saturday, every Saturday, $100 every Sunday, still be home the evenings those days, and end up making an extra about $800 a month off it. Granted, it's a 1099 thing, so I have to pay extra taxes, but it's a decent amount of side hustle.
Yeah, and I think you can write off mileage, can't you, if you have that properly tracked?
You can guesstimate mileage.
Yeah.
But
Well, interestingly enough, I am in a Facebook group, and this group has like a decent amount of people from like all over the United States. And for any of those you guys listening, I doubt we have anyone listening, but
we never do.
um, good news is a couple of them had said in their bank accounts it's actually pending that they have that stimulus money.
Yes, my mother already got her stimulus money. They said they're releasing it via income. So those with low incomes will get it first. You might actually already have yours, Laura.
I checked, I don't.
Neither
My
do I.
mom said something like the people who made like 10K or less like already had theirs, I think. Or at least pending they had it.
Well, they said that it's taking a little bit to get it to everybody.
Yeah.
And, they still have to double check everything and make sure that they can't, just hit a button and all the accounts get this much money. They have to go through everyone's tax refunds and make sure everything's good and then send you your money.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like, does she already have it or is it pending in her
No,
account?
it's already in her account.
Oh, wow. And it was 1,200, right?
17, but that's because she got money from my sister.
Oh, gotcha. Because the amount changes if you have kids, right?
Correct.
And it's like an additional 500 each kid, right?
Yep. And I will tell you guys this. I have reached the ultimate level of gamerdom. Before this podcast, I was playing Grand Theft Auto while drinking a Rolling Rock beer and eating bagel bites.
Oh, wow.
That is the ultimate level of shut-in, I do believe.
I went outside with the boyfriend to
Yes.
go on a walk and
I'm doing my podcast.
played some basketball.
Okay, good night.
What?
Oh, my sister came in the middle of the podcast.
I'm just gonna say goodnight.
Good night.
Tell your sister I said hi. My name's Laura. You don't know me, but
You
hi.
don't know Laura, but Laura, my old friend from school and working at McDonald's in Travis, says hi.
I feel like I know who you're talking about.
You don't.
I lived with him for a short amount of time before his roommate decided to ruin
Go away.
everything.
Okay, go away. We're trying to do a podcast.
Actually, said roommate basically ruined your life, but that's another story.
More than him. When three people
Yeah.
ruin your life at one time, it's kind of hard to bounce back from that.
I didn't ruin your life.
You aren't one of the three.
Okay. At one time? What the heck?
Well, let's see. I was dealing with my dad owing me money, Dan screwing up stuff between me and Cody with the business, and Noah screwing me over.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yes, people, life is complicated. However, one thing we do have to remember, though, on this Easter Sunday is that one should not go to a megachurch during
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Unless one wants to get possibly arrested.
And remember, getting arrested for your own stupidity is an American tradition.
Mm-hmm. See, people are saying this pandemic is natural selection. I don't want to call it something that fucked up.
But it might be.
No, those old people did not have it coming. They still had like at least a year or two longer to live.
I was talking about the people who are getting sick because they go in like public toilet seats.
Oh,
or go
wow.
to a coronavirus party. In that case, natural selection is doing its thing.
Yeah, that's true. But at that point, you're basically just asking for it.
Oh, yes. And to all you who say, well, I need to go to the gym, I need to do this, I need to do that. Remember, you can order a treadmill online. You can use bottles of water as weights. And yoga can be done at home.
See, the people, like the small population of people who like don't have homes, like the ones that like live in their cars and were using gym memberships to like actually bathe and shit. What do you think they're doing now?
I don't know. I think they were all stuck in some sort of shelter or something because they couldn't be on the street because of the virus.
I heard that they were thinking of releasing Tekashi 6ix9ine because of this ordeal, because the people in the jails, they didn't want them to get the virus.
Yes, because due to a virus, let's let a bunch of crazy nut jobs who went and broke laws and hurt people out. Because remember, they're not saying that violent criminals won't be let out. They were pretty much saying all non-violent criminals and those who have some violence, but say it wasn't murder or something like that. Murderers and rapists won't be let out of jail. But people who commit assault, stuff like that, may still be let out of jail early. But it's like depending on their behavior in the jail.
Are they already out, or
in some places they started releasing them a couple weeks ago, and especially in California.
I actually hope that Tekashi 6ix9ine, if y'all don't know what happened with him,
I don't. Please enlighten me.
He is a very popular rapper, and he got into it. So this is a really, really funny story. He came out with a music video, and he had like a bunch of people, and he was like saying like, when you first look at the video, you don't think much of it. It's very stereotypically shit that, I will be honest, rappers say, like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you, and I do this gang shit, blah, blah, blah. Well, it actually ended up being used as evidence in court, because, the shit he was talking about in the video actually happened. So, he got arrested because he ended up, being affiliated with actual people that were in a, I don't know what the terminology, gang, but like the gangs that are like actually serious, like the ones that for real kill people.
Those are still gangs.
He was, I don't know the terminology, like Crips and Bloods, something like that. Okay. Well, anyways, he was affiliated with those people, and he ended up getting arrested. He got a little bit less time because he snitched on, like, the leaders of said gangs.
Oh, so they let him out, but he's a snitch. Oh, man, he would have been much safer in jail.
That's exactly what I said, so I'm kind of hoping that, either the main dudes managed to get shot by now, for their crimes of whatever they committed, or 6ix9ine has a decent amount of security around him at all times.
Well, he is a popular rapper. He could probably afford the security.
Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, I would think he needs it, because once you snitch on people from the gang, I don't really know how you're going to survive.
You're a marked man at that point.
But yeah, that's basically what happened, and I find it hilarious that they used a music video as partial evidence to crimes he committed. Because
in the state of Kentucky, I just read, Easter Sunday church attendees will be forcibly sentenced to house arrest for 14 days.
Oh, dang.
Here's the thing, guys. when we talk about overthrowing the government to get our freedoms back, as I believe you have mentioned a couple times, Laura, this is why. Because who says they're going to give up this power when it's over?
It's hard to say on that one.
And that is why we have the right to bear arms. And I hate to say it, but Governor Halfwit up there in Michigan better watch out what she's doing, because Michiganders are heavily armed. She better not push them too far. She might not like the response.
I feel like we've been pushed, but at the same time, I watched this video of this girl who lives in California, and the rules in California are a lot stricter. Like, I think she said she and her friend actually had to, for a couple days, they ordered, it was either Uber Eats or something like that, because for like a good week or two, they closed off grocery store shopping for most people, except for they were wanting the people on food stamps to be able to go grocery shopping, so they made sure that those people had enough food to buy. So, I mean, Michigan's nowhere near like that. Like,
But
we're
you
not...
forget, Escape from LA, the movie, is no longer satire.
I've never watched that.
It's a post-apocalyptic movie where LA's become the entire city is essentially one big prison.
Oh.
But here's the thing. LA and New York, any of the humongous big cities in this country, are draconian shitholes of the highest order, with insanely corrupt politics, anti-second laws that make it to where only criminals have firearms, and their crime rate and death by firearm statistics mirror that. Essentially, they're extremely high. And in the case of San Francisco and Los Angeles, there were needles and shit in the streets, so no wonder so many people got sick. New York, I can tell you why so many people got sick, because everyone there lives in a freaking apartment building.
Yeah.
And guess what? Yeah, they're saying one person on average infects 2 other people before they show symptoms. Except guess what? That person doesn't know they have it. They continue to be asymptomatic. And they're touching that door handle that everyone else in the apartment building is touching all day long, every day.
Yeah.
And that's what caused it to spread so quickly.
And it's also a really concentrated area to begin with.
If you notice, the non-concentrated areas where people have their own homes, mostly live in houses or even mobile homes, this disease is not spreading as quickly because the people are not so densely packed. Because you see, when you densely pack people, that 2 people that the guy infects turns into 200.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why you don't want to let a mega church to have a... You don't want a mega church to have a service, even though that does start to get into, freedom of religion territory here. And that's the thing. Right now, our safety is bashing up against our liberty. And there's an old saying, those who trade liberty for safety deserve neither. But at the same time, we don't want this thing to to infect so many people that it continues to mutate to the point that it becomes more contagious and more deadly. They already said they were tracking like 8 different strains, except for the fact that coronavirus, except for this strain, has been around before. So to say there is no immunity to this virus, even though it's in the same family of other viruses that have been around for a while and people have been exposed to, is not necessarily correct. Because you're supposed to not be able to become immune to the flu. But people like me, there are a few people like myself who have actually developed an immunity to the flu.
Right.
And that's the thing. So even if you say, oh, you can't become immune to this, yes, you can. It requires very specific things. But now they're adding so many things to the list of symptoms that you can have a small headache and think you have the virus.
Right, like,
It's like you can't.
on and off, I've had to blow my nose, and I'm afraid because, like, some people are like, "Oh, by the way, a runny nose, you have corona, basically," and I'm like, I don't.
Okay, allow me to go and tell people this. This is a respiratory virus. That means it's in the lungs, which means you can get a sore throat from the coughing of your lungs, from your chest hurting. And you get body aches and tiredness from the fact that because your lungs are infected with a virus, you aren't getting as much air. But beyond that, it's not going to do anything to you beyond that. You say confusion. Well, that's because you're tired. And here's the thing. Everyone's saying tired and confusion. Of course everyone's tired and confused. Everyone's stressed the fuck out and they can't get any sleep.
Right. Well, I heard fever's another one too. That's
Fever is
pretty popular.
Okay, all viruses and bacterial infections pretty much give you a fever. That's like the first thing your body does is raise its temperature to help kill it. Because these things are not like high temperatures.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, the fever will kill the virus, but it can kill you too. If it gets high enough. If you get 103, 104, 105 degree fever, you begin to actually cook your brain.
Wait. Okay, I'm not laughing at, like, someone's brain being cooked, but, like, the way you said that was kind of funny.
I had 103.5 degree fever when I had the flu the last time when I was 11. And I had the stomach at the same time. And I was so delirious and dizzy from the high fever that I smacked my head into a wall on the way into the bathroom. The corner of a hallway.
See, what are the big things that people are saying as, like, a newborn or an old person that has made this virus as deadly as it was for them?
Mostly pre-existing conditions and their immune system not being up to snuff. Because here's the thing, a newborn is protected by their mother's immune system for the first 6 months. And then they start doing vaccines to help build up the infant's immune system. Because the way vaccines work is they take some dead virus, and yeah, there's some other supposedly disgusting stuff that was in them, but most of that stuff, the mercury and that and formaldehyde and that is no longer in them, even though people keep saying, oh, it's in there. It's not in there anymore. And so they used to use monkey kidney tissue and the polio vaccine. Well, so if it works, it works. Remember, whether or not something seems disgusting or important to you does not dictate whether or not the science says it's good or bad. But here's the thing. The way they do it is they inject you with a little bit of the virus that has been deactivated or killed. Well, viruses aren't actually alive, so they say that it's a dead or deactivated virus. It doesn't spread itself anymore. It's inert, okay? But it's got some of the virus, it's got the virus's genes in it. The body recognizes it, and you can feel like you have the symptoms for a few days, even though you won't, it won't spread and give you a lot of it. But your body will build the antibodies for that virus. So if you're exposed to it, you will not catch it.
Right.
So it's a safe way of exposing you to a virus without you catching the virus. Now, other viruses such as HIV, you can't do that with because they mutate so damn quickly.
Right.
The flu mutates every year. Now, if you can give they came up with this thing that you can give someone a series of 7 shots, and they're trying to get it down to one or two because no one wants to go and get 7 shots, that you can teach your body the history of all these different flus and get your body to build enough antibodies that it can recognize any flu that it ever comes in contact with and fight it off immediately, so the worst thing you have is a 24-hour bug. But your body already knows these antibodies work for this, and they pretty much just tweaks them a little bit and sends them off. So your body has a jump start on making the antibodies.
Right.
And to be quite honest, the flu shot that you get every year, it's a guess. They figure the most likely way the virus is going to mutate, and they create that mutation of the virus in a lab, deactivate it, and put it in vaccines.
Right.
but because they don't know for sure, it might not help you at all. Which is
What is this thing that they were talking about where like Trump was endorsing this one certain pill?
Okay, it's endorsed, but they are. But here's the thing: someone took, instead of the actual medication, which can have risks and should be taken with a prescription at prescribed levels, they went and took fish tank cleaner and thought it was the same thing, and essentially overdosed on the stuff. This stuff might work, but it has very specific protocols for administering the drug.
Like what?
Like because the drug is a base or something, they have to fill your body with extra potassium, so you don't run out of potassium from taking it.
So the people that are being hospitalized in ventilators, that's supposed to help you breathe?
The ventilator breathes for you because you can't breathe.
Oh, gotcha.
A ventilator is a tube in your throat. It's life support.
Okay.
Basically. The machine breathes for you because your lungs are so full of fluid and stuff that they can't breathe on their own. And
right.
That, and here's the thing. The point is, though, beyond all this, you want to take extra precautions not to get sick, but you don't want to let it control your life.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be paralyzed with fear.
Right.
But like we were trying to say earlier, because we've gotten so far off topic, once again, welcome to the podcast where we get off topic completely. We were supposed to be talking about Easter. I do hate these mega churches who like to say, we are not going to be stopping our services, and we're going to be doing things in this, and some of them were busing people in.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, they were busing people in order to make sure they could pack it full.
Ugh.
And other ones, televangelists, are saying to send them money and it will cure them of their coronavirus.
What the hell?
Televangelists are evil. Just remember, guys, if someone on the TV says, send me money and the Lord will cure your illness, they're full of shit. Either my grandma or my mom knows somebody who said, who will continue, or someone in my family, someone I know knows somebody who pretty much only doesn't believe in medicine or anything like that. Oh yeah, my mom's mom, my grandma. She doesn't believe in that, but she will do anything these televangelists tell her. She will buy this vitamin supplement they tell her to buy, pray the way they tell her to pray, send them money, because, it's called the prosperity gospel. You plant a seed in the church of an amount, and it's usually a very specific amount that they ask from the televangelists and that. And then they say God will pay off your mortgage or something miraculously. Except God never pays off your mortgage, and you're out a shit ton of money.
See, I never understood if you have the money to donate, that's fine. But some people are like, well, we put it as a separate expense. We do 10% of our income, 15%, whatever. At the end of the year, it's not our money, it's God's money, and we give it to the church and blah blah blah. And
that's more of a religious thing. If you can afford it, and
if you can afford it,
and if you
fine.
And if you believe it's what you ought to do, and you're living within your means with a budget, which everyone should be doing, by the way. And actually, we really should do another podcast one of these days about budgets and money and how that all should work. Maybe.
Yes, we should, because clearly there is a shit ton of people that, because of this virus, didn't even have 3 weeks worth of income.
And to be quite honest, you should have 3 to 6 months income saved up.
Right,
Not that either of
because
us have that, but that's because we're broke.
right.
Many of
But
you out there have no excuse for not having any savings. Those who do, guess what? Most of them were considered essential workers and are still working.
right. I
Except for the
mean,
hospitality people.
yeah. But like with a lot of people, because all of this happened, it's just like we need this to lower so this doesn't end up being dragged out till like fucking July or further. So people need to sit their asses home and just let time take its course at that point.
Yeah, the monetary issue is always trying to reach your head, though. Granted, the Dr. Ferrucci, or whatever he was saying, who's the advisor to Trump on this whole thing, he's trying to say that we should not reopen anything until there's a vaccine or a treatment.
That's kind of a fair point.
Except that'll take up to a year and a half minimum.
What?
12 to 18 months to make a vaccine.
Why is it taking that long?
Because it takes that long to find a vaccine and then test it and then get it approved and then get it mass produced so that everyone can have one.
Oh my gosh.
Guess what, Mr. Doctor? You can't actually close up all of society for that long.
No. If we have anything closed up till like June or July, we're gonna have riots before that date happens.
We're already getting riots in places. My cousin's a truck driver for Kroger who got held up at gunpoint for the supplies in the back of his truck.
Did he give them the stuff?
They asked him what he was carrying. He said charcoal, and then they let him go. Kind of weirded out that he was carrying charcoal. So obviously they were looking for food and toilet paper.
Yeah.
Things are getting bad. But yeah, no. But
hey, you should do a story time. That'd be very popular on your channel.
a story
How
time?
my cousin got held at gunpoint.
All I know is it happened. My grandma told me that it happened. A very short version of the story.
Gotcha. Well, if you had access to your cousin, maybe
I don't.
you could do like a video chat or something, ask about the details. That's an interesting story.
There's a lot of things I could be doing with the channel, but you know me and my lazy, procrastinating dumbass.
Yeah. Well, you're working, so it's kind of different, I guess.
I do have a job still.
Yeah, thankfully.
I don't know if I'm really that thankful, because based on Indiana state regulations on unemployment, when those checks start going out, the extra $600 a week, if my work laid me off and I got approved for unemployment, I'd make like almost triple what I'm making now.
Oh yeah, Nick's my boyfriend Nick is literally getting paid, assuming that $600 comes in a timely manner. He'll be making more money than me doing nothing.
And he'll be making more money than he was at the restaurant.
No, with overtime, not really.
No, but on base, just
Well,
base
yeah,
40 hours a week. But like me, I take home $448 a week, okay?
Yeah.
According to Indiana state law, I can get 47% of my income, okay, in unemployment. Well, 47% is damn near the max of unemployment, which is $359. But because I gross $600 a week, I would get probably around $300 a week. So plus the $600 a week, so I'd gross about $900. And even if you took a quarter of that away for taxes, I'd still bring home $700 a week as opposed to $448.
Right.
I would get an extra like $300 a week than what I'm making now. I want to get laid off, temporarily speaking. You know,
Yep.
then I wouldn't have to work and I would make more money. But my work's not going to do that. So my feelings on the subject are kind of conflicted.
Yeah, I'm like annoyed that us essential workers are,
Yes, you see,
yeah.
Laura, you are considered frontline. So in that heroes rescue package, if they ever got it passed in the Senate that they were talking about, you would get some money, some hazard pay. I work in a factory. I'm what they call in the military REMF, rear echelon motherfucker. I don't get jack shit because I am not on the front line supposedly. Because I'm in a factory.
Mhm.
So screw me and any hazard pay, right?
Yep.
Essential, but you don't get it because you're not front line. But yeah, no, this whole thing's insane. You know what we should do next week? I should do some research and we should do an episode on faith healers and televangelists.
Hmm.
That might be an interesting topic for an episode. But anyways, I'm running out of shit to talk about. Yeah, these episodes haven't been running exactly to an hour, but it's 45 minutes. You got anything else you want to talk about, Laura?
Nope.
Okay, I think we'll call that an episode here, and hopefully next week we'll have a little more uh, content and have a little bit less technical issues. Anyways, see you guys next time.